Hey guys, if you have not followed me on Instagram, please take a minute and head over to Instagram and follow me. I have a goal to reach 10,000 followers. So guys, head over to Instagram and give me a follow. And thank you so much. Now let's get into the video.
Hey, good morning, y'all. Let me roll this one up. Alright, y'all. So, this is definitely a rant alert. On the way to work, y'all. And I'm telling you, when I am on my way to work, I find myself in prayer. I find myself in like deep meditation, like trying to sort things out, right? And I pray that when you go to work or on your way to work, once you get your kids dropped off or whatever the case may be for you, that you take some time to really get into the depths of yourself and really think on some things. Like, I'm a very analytical person. I am very what's the word? I think a lot. I don't think I overthink, but I do think a lot. And I try to make sense of things in life and try to understand, who I am on a deeper level and try to ask God to help me with different things that I may be struggling with. So my point in talking about this is like, sometimes, y'all, this is like real. This is real talk. Like, I don't want my, my brand of Typically Teresa to be so, I don't know, unrealistic for people. Like, I set a standard of, discover your gifts, learn what your purpose is, and build your confidence through those things, because those things are eternal. We set our hopes on things that we cannot see, and your gifts and your talents and what God has created you to be, are things you cannot see. They're not tangible things. So I'd rather you base your confidence or begin to build your confidence on that aspect, and then work on other things that are not eternal, your external appearance and things like that, because I believe that's also important. So, but I believe you should start there first, because that'll help you get there, more efficiently than to be sitting here comparing yourself and all these other things, that I don't want to get too much into depth with. But the bottom line here, y'all, is like, sometimes I feel guilty. Like, this may sound crazy, right? But sometimes, I'm not saying I do feel like this, but sometimes I find myself feeling guilty about wanting more out of life. Like, I'll sit here and be like, oh God, like, I want a nicer house. Like, I want this type of car. I want this amount of money. I want this type of situation, that type of situation. And I'll, because I'm a very humble person at the same time of wanting more from my life, I'll find myself feeling guilty, because I'm like, well, God, there are people who are hungry. There are people who don't have a home. There are people who don't have a job to go to. There are people who don't make the amount of money that I make. There are people who don't have the children that I have. God, and they want them so bad, and they don't have it. So it's like, who am I to even ask for more? Sometimes I feel guilty in asking God for more because of what other people I know that don't have at all. I pass by people all the time here on the side of the road, begging, and who don't have a home to live in, and who don't have family, who don't have support, who really don't have different resources. You know what I mean? And sometimes I do feel guilty. And so I don't know if that's, the devil trying to get me to remain complacent with what I have, which I know is a lie, because first of all, I will not be complacent. But there is a battle that I find myself in, feeling guilty for wanting more, and then, feeling like, I'm not going to be complacent and get comfortable with where I'm at now, because this is not, I'm not saying this is the worst, because it's not, thank God, I have the things that I do have, don't get me wrong, it's not bad by any means, but when you want more for your life, it is challenging to kind of remain present. And it's hilarious because I was watching this girl on YouTube that I found. Her name is Yoki, and I really like her, so go check out her channel. She's awesome. She was just doing like this get ready with me chit chat, and she was just talking about like how a lot of people feel like they're behind in life, that people get so caught up in all these things that they want to do, and they miss opportunities that they have right now in their disposal. It's to that degree. And so I really resonated with that, because I was like, wow, like there probably are times where I'm not as present as I should be, because I'm so focused. I'm so laser focused on building my business. I'm so laser focused on wanting more, not just for me, but for my family. I'm so laser focused on all these different things, and I do have to have these check-in moments like I'm doing right now with myself, and be like, okay, are you present, or are you acting out in being anxious? Are you disgruntled because you are so overly anxious again to get to your next level or your next phase of life? Like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I have to check myself. So I want to pose a question, you guys. Like, do you ever feel guilty for wanting more out of life? Like, I certainly find myself feeling like that, and I don't know that that's necessarily a good thing or what. Like, I don't know, but I do find myself, and I gotta check myself on it, because I know that that's not of God. I feel like God does want us to be grateful and humble. He absolutely wants us to feel like that, but to feel guilty for asking God to be all that He is supposed to be, all that He is, that's not what God wants us to feel. So if you ever feel like you're guilty for wanting more, for wanting better, for wanting the best of the best of the best, like, know that that's not God. That's Satan trying to keep you complacent and content with where you are, which I'm not saying, and see, this is what I'm talking about right here. I'm not saying you shouldn't be content, you shouldn't be grateful, you shouldn't be humble, but at the same time, you should still be setting your sights on something higher, setting your sights on something greater, setting your sights on more, because God is an overabundant God. He is exceeding abundantly all that we could ask or think. So with that, and knowing who God is, to me, see, that totally shifts my whole perspective of feeling guilty for wanting me to be all that God has called me to be. That's all that I want. I want to be all that He has called me to be. I don't want to not fulfill anything that He set me out to do, because we all know that your life is strategically orchestrated to what exactly you're supposed to do in your life. Like, I think a lot of people get discouraged, or they get, confused or anything like that. But you have to know that no matter what challenges you face, no matter what difficulties you come across, that it is going to work for your good. And so, all these things that we hear is going to work for your good, and it's going to, yeah, I know we hear it a lot, but one day you'll understand. And if you're being real with yourself, you probably already understand why this had to happen, and why that had to happen, and this, whatever. If you're real, you would have already acknowledged, or at least seeking out, in the heavenly places, asking God, can you give me some confirmation on this? Can you give me some insight? And I just think, at the end of the day, you already know. You just don't want to accept what that reality is. You already know why this happened. You already know why that happened. Just like with myself, I already know why certain events happened in my life, because either it propelled me to a higher level of thinking. It connected me with different types of people that I needed to be around, or it disconnected me with different people that I needed to get away from, whatever the case may be, or it affirmed something that I needed to understand better. Tons of reasons why things happen in life. But my thing is, I try to be pretty why this, why that, can you please show me this, God help me with this situation. I'm telling you, that's my constant prayer, for God to really show me and to mold me, instead of me asking God, well, can you do this for me? I need this. I ask him, well, God, show me what it is that you need me to get out of this. Show me and reveal to me what it is that I need to know so that I can, get through this thing a little bit better. Show me what you're trying to show me, because you better believe he's trying to show you something. Everything serves a purpose. It has a reason, you guys. It has a reason. So it is totally our job to make sure that, we are asking the right questions in the correct posture, so that we can get the information that we need, and also just being real and honest, because a lot of the questions that we have, we already know the answers to. We're too scared, we're too whatever, caught up, or so in denial. Whatever your situation is, a lot of those times it's us that we get in the way of ourselves. So you guys, I just wanted to put that out there. Don't feel guilty for wanting more. Don't allow that spirit of guilt to overtake you, because at the end of the day, God is here so that we can have more. We can have life more abundantly. He wanted us. That's why, part of the reason why he died on the cross was so that we don't have to live in, in condemnation and guilt and shame, because of our sinful nature, and obviously there's more to why he died on the cross, but that's definitely one of them. And he wanted us to be able to walk in favor and abundance and all of these things. So if you ever find yourself having this guilty mindset, you appreciate where you are by all means, but you should always be seeking and going after more for your life. And that's what he wants. That's what he wants, y'all. So, if you're not seeking more for your life, and if you are complacent today, you should ask yourself, well, why? Why am I so complacent? Do you feel that you have fulfilled all that God has created you to be? 9 times out of 10, your answer is going to be no. And it does not necessarily mean that if you feel complacent, you have achieved or you have obtained certain levels of abundance and things of that sort. But my thing is, you should always be trying to figure out, not necessarily working on it. You should be trying to figure out, what's my next move? What will you have me to do next? Am I in a season of building, of planting, of sowing? Am I in that type of season? Because in that type of season, you're not going to necessarily reap the benefits yet. You might be in a waiting season. So this is what I'm saying to you. You have to identify where you are, what season you're in. And for me personally, my season that I'm in right now is definitely sowing. Sowing seeds of faith, sowing seeds of confidence, sowing seeds of service. I'm definitely in that season, and trying to gain clarity as well on some other things. I've gained clarity in one area of my life, but I know I need some more clarity on the other side of my life. Still trying to receive that. So sometimes you may just be in a waiting season, and that's okay. But anyway, y'all, don't feel guilty for wanting more for your life. You deserve it. God has given us, this ability to dream and have visions and to desire, all that he has wanted us to obtain, and at the end of the day, it's always going to be more than you. It's never about just you. It's always about the people who are connected to you, or people who you may not even met yet. It's bigger than that. So by you doing what your heart desires, by you seeking what your heart desires, that's only going to allow others to get what they need as well, because we're all connected together at the end of the day. We really, really are. So the faster you understand that, and that yes, it relates to you, the better off you'll be. Most definitely, the better off you'll be. So all right, y'all, no guilt, no shame, no condemnation. We don't live in that. We don't walk in that. We ask God to forgive us and ask Him to help us with our struggles that we may be facing today, you guys. But we don't walk in that. We are designed and we are made to live and walk in God's favor, in God's grace, in God's abundance, because that's the type of God that He is. So y'all, excuse me, whenever you see this, know that for yourself. And I just felt really led to talk about that because I've been doing some deep, I'm always having my moments, day by day. I highly encourage you to have your moment. Have your moment where you and God just cut off everything. I don't have no music on. I don't have nothing on today. Sometimes I have my podcast. Sometimes I have my praise and worship. It all depends. But the bottom line is you got to have that quiet time. Cut it all off, y'all. And just get in a quiet place and listen to what God is really trying to get you to do. Because your heart will begin to speak out. Your soul will begin to speak out. And then that's when you'll be able to really tap into what it is that you need to be working on as a person. That's when you'll know. You can't do it by looking at other people. You got to get in that quiet space and get with you. Get real with you and who you are and where you're trying to go. So I hope y'all have an amazing day. And again, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go check it out. Typically Teresa. If you're not following me on TikTok and Facebook, it's all the same. Typically Teresa. I would love to have you trying to build my community, guys, across all social media platforms. So you guys, I appreciate you watching my little clip here, my little rant. But y'all, seriously, it's real out here, and I just try to get real and honest with you guys, because to me that's what matters. That's what's most important. And if I'm not doing that, then I'm not being honest.